How many of you in your family, you may be the person that's like this, have like a social media ninja, like they are like the king or the queen of social media? Give me a wave of your hand. We have a thing in our family called being pondered. Being pondered. My father-in-law, Pastor John Ponder, loves Twitter. He's got like 50 trillion followers on Twitter, and I don't know how many people on Facebook, and I'm praying to Jesus that he never gets on Snapchat. But my father-in-law loves to take photos and post them, but not like normal photos. He likes to take, like, get you at your worst possible moment. Like, he will wait. I think he's got an anointing or a skill that right when you're in that, like, really weird, he's like, and he just takes a photo, and then he's just posting it. We call it being pondered. We have a rule in our house that whenever we're in a family get together, that we ask him, please don't post anything. Don't post anything unless we can approve it first. How many of you know when you want someone to post something for the world to see, like, you don't want to be the worst photo. Right. And how many of you know that sometimes your photo makes your face look viciously worse than it really is? Yeah. Like, I think most of us at some point, like we don't think that we look all that spectacular, but there's just other times when there's a photo where your face is just like distorted and you look even worse than you know what I'm talking about? It's like even worse than you wake up first thing in the morning. If I'm going to post a selfie, most probably true for you, if you're going to post a selfie, you're taking like 500 shots and trying to pick the best one because you want the best photo of you. How many people are like that? Where you want the best photo of you to go on, you know, your social media. You don't want the worst photo of you to go on social media. And I think that's true for most of us. But the cool thing about the Bible, even though they didn't have social media back in Bible days, is that when God presented his men and women, I used to need to read the Bible through once, read a few chapters, and you'll soon find out that when God presented his men and women, he didn't present them always with like the best image of who they were. I think one of the, you know, there are many qualifiers that we can understand that God wrote the Bible and not man presented the Bible. There are many facets from, you know, statistics, numbers, whatever. But one of the things that you can be pretty sure of, like, how would we know that the Bible is God-inspired and not man-inspired, is because it doesn't matter what generation you are in, you always want to present yourself the best way that you can present yourself. You don't want to present the worst image of you. But when God presented his heroes, he always presented them in real life. And he didn't candy coat them, didn't sugarcoat them, didn't like Photoshop the image to make his heroes look without they have any image. Years ago, in the original Snapchat, which was painting, when people painted you, there was a British guy by the name of Oliver Cromwell, and they were going to paint a picture of him. The artist that was commissioned to paint his picture was the artist that painted the pictures of all the kings and the queens. Now, the reason that the kings and the queens chose this particular artist to paint that picture was because he was not just the best artist, but he would often paint you without any blemishes. So if you had like a massive zit here, or a mole on the end of your nose, or something like that, or 5 teeth missing, or 1 ear, or whatever, he would paint you. He'd add the ear, add teeth, remove the mole. He would get you looking your best. And so he was commissioned to paint a picture of this man by the name of Cromwell. And so he said to Mr. Cromwell, how do you want me to paint you? This was his normal discussion that he would have with any of the royalty. Mr. Cromwell, how do you want me to paint you? And history has it recorded that Cromwell said to him, paint me accurately, paint me warts and all. In other words, don't remove my blemishes, don't change my appearances. I know there are imperfections, but I want the image of me to be accurate. I don't want it to be like a made-up image of me. I want people to see me for how I really am. God does this all the way through the Bible. He paints up his heroes, and he removes all, leaves in all the blemishes, doesn't sugarcoat it, so we can actually see that you and I are very similar to God's heroes. Because sometimes I think when we think about the men and women of God, we think of them as being like superstars and us being like less than average. Yep. But the thing that God does is when he presents his superstars, he presents them warts and all. In other words, he presents them in a way that you and I can look at their life and go, man, I'm not that much different. Or those moments when we think, how can I do anything good for God? I feel like I suck in so many areas that you can look at some of the Bible heroes and go, I don't think I'm that bad. Like, I know the struggles that I've got, and I'm not perfect. But when I look at their struggles, they're like really jacked up. How many people know some of the people in the Bible who God used in significant ways had far less than perfect lives? And in Corinthians, when Paul is writing about this, no temptation has come upon you except that which is common to man. But the leading verses before that, in the opening 9 verses of Corinthians, he's talking about Old Testament heroes. He's talking about the men and women of the Old Testament. He said, God gave us their lives as examples. Now, when God gave us their lives as examples, it wasn't so he could make an example of them. It wasn't so he could embarrass them. It wasn't so he could make them seem less. God was using their lives as examples so when you and I walk through a battle, when we go through difficulty, that we don't beat ourselves up. That we don't quit on ourselves. That we don't quit on our dream. We don't quit on our destiny. God says, listen, you're going to go through struggles, and if you can read the Bible, you can find out how men and women got through their struggles. In essence, he gives us a view into the secret lives of Bible peeps. He gives us a view into their lives so we can look at our life and we can say, this is how I'm going to overcome, this is how I'm going to win. No temptation has come upon you except that which is, man, this is like really, is that like super prevalent or is that just me? It seems like, anyway, sounds driving me crazy for some reason. So we can understand that some of the struggles that we go through are not that different than other people. Just internal stuff. Like often when we have a crisis, we think I'm the only one feeling it. And yet in any classroom, there's probably 5 people feeling exactly the same way. Maybe you're walking through something right now, you think, I'm the only one who feels this. There's probably other people in the room who have felt the exact same thing. There's nothing, you don't go through anything that's not common. Mm-hmm. There was a man by the name of Paul Scanlon. He's a pastor in England. He has this message called, I Know You're Kind. In other words, I may have never met you, but if I spend about 10 minutes with you and get to know you a little bit, I've probably met you before, even though I've never met you personally. In other words, the way you respond to stuff, the way you do things, is not necessarily that uncommon to people I've met before. I've been doing ministry for over 20 years. So it's probably accurate that I met somebody like you with the same struggles as you before. And then often I'm able to now go, okay, they said this, and this, I know how this is going to go. And I can warn people. I can say, this is how it's going to end up. I know it's how it's going to end up because I met you before. There's a guy in the church here a few years back, and he stole all of Pastor Steve's iPods with all Pastor Steve's music for all of his presentations. I think it was 3 iPods that he stole. And he wasn't a smart thief. He was a dumb thief. And so he sold them to I'm going to spell this word out for you because the way I say it and what I'm saying are 2 different things, and I don't want my accent to give you the wrong impression. So he sold them to a PAWN store, a porn store. Let's try to put that out there. And the lady who owned the PAWN porn store went to our church. Like, she attended Family Christian Center. He sold Pastor Steve's iPods to a lady who goes to Family Christian Center. And so she not only busted him, but she had video footage of him selling the iPods to the store. So we knew who it was, and he came to church on a Wednesday night, and we were like, security, hey, you need to come with us. And Pastor Steve said to me, hey man, can you deal with this for me? So I'm like, sure, Pastor, I'll deal with it for you. So I get the guy to come and meet me in the office, and I said to him, listen, this is how it is. We know that you stole Pastor's iPods. We know that. This is a fact. We have video of you. We have a testimony of somebody who said that you were there. We have the receipt. So we know that you stole them. All I need for you to do to make this a really quick meeting is to tell me, yes, you stole them, and what else you stole from the church, because we have a whole heap of stuff that's being stolen. Somebody stole all of our Xboxes. I just want to get to the bottom of that. So first of all I need you to do is I need you to tell me, yes, I stole the iPods. But this is probably what's going to happen, because I've met people like you before. You're going to deny that you stole the iPods. You're not going to admit it, even though we have video footage, we have a testimony, and we know that you're going to deny it, and then you and I are going to go back and forth in the conversation for about 45 minutes of our life, until at the end of this time, when I won't quit, you'll eventually admit that you stole the iPods. What I'd really like you to do is admit it now, save us a whole heap of time. How do I know that he was going to deny it? Because I met him before. He's not the first thief that I've talked to. And so we started the conversation. So tell me, did you steal the iPods? No, Pastor, I didn't steal the iPods. Oh, here we go. He didn't steal it. Well, what happened? He said, well, this is what happened. He said, someone stole my gym bag. And my gym bag had a very expensive computer in it. When church had finished, I was racing around looking for my gym bag, and I couldn't find my gym bag. I finally found my gym bag in the photocopy room, and I took it home, and when I got home, my expensive computer was gone, and 3 iPods were there. I didn't steal them. They just appeared in my gym bag. I said to him, you must think I'm an idiot.
For real.
Like, I don't even care now that you're denying you stole it, but you must think I am the stupidest person you've ever met in your whole life. Oh, no, sir. I said, yes, sir, because that's the stupidest story. Let me just retrack how that plays out in my mind. You have a gym bag with an expensive computer. Someone steals your gym bag and the expensive computer. You're looking around the church. I got a gym bag with an expensive computer. Oh my gosh, where is it? You're looking at other stuff. You're looking in trash cans. You finally make your way up to the most random room in the whole church, up into the photocopier room. You look in there. Whoa, there's a gym bag with your expensive computer in it. You pick it up and don't even notice that it's lighter than it was before. So excited for your $20 gym bag, you didn't even look inside to see if your very expensive computer was missing. You take the gym bag home, even though it's lighter, and you never check to see if the computer is missing. You open up the gym bag and you're like, oh my gosh, it's a miracle! My expensive computer has supernaturally turned into 3 iPods that have all Pastor Steve's music on it. How awesome is this? I can do illustrated messages at home on my own. Then you think to yourself, I need to sell these iPods and get some money because I don't care about my expensive computer being stolen. This is a stupid story. 45 minutes later, going around and around again, he yells out, he goes, you don't know me! I've met you before, man. And he goes, all right, I stole the iPods. Yeah, I know that. We already knew that. I just want to know what the rest of the stuff that you stole that night. How do you know? At the end of the conversation, I said, man, if you don't confess everything, you're going to get busted out soon for more stuff. When you get busted out for more stuff tonight, you've got grace. The pastor just pray for you and forget it and leave it go. But if you deny everything tonight, you don't get honest tonight, we bust you again, you're going to go to jail.
Yeah.
Police are going to arresticate you. I know that's not a word, but it's a word I like to use.
Arresticate?
And you're going to go to jail.
Arresticate.
You know where he ended up?
In jail.
In jail. How do I know? Because no temptation has come upon you except that which is common to man. Life is a little bit like a Happy Meal. Happy Meals have been pretty much the same since I was a kid.